Good morning. How you all doing? Sarah here. Just thought I'd show you the essences that I made yesterday. So first of all, what I did was I used some really big glasses. Instead of a glass bowl, I made used these sort of large goblets. And that way you don't kind of waste too much, unless you're making a huge quantity. But I didn't want a huge quantity. I just wanted enough for some small bottles of the mother essence so that I can then go on to make some stock bottles and what have you. So I didn't need a huge amount. So I used goblets like this, sort of really nice wine glasses I happen to have. Too big for wine, I suspect. This one was a wormwood one. This is the mugwort and the elderflower in a smaller one. And the smell of the elderflower one is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. Anyway, what I did was I put them outside, as I explained in my last video, under the moon, and this moon happened to be a blue moon, which is a really rare moon. So it was even more potent, and the blue moon itself has energies that are infused in the water as well, about freedom and just moving our lives on in a really positive way. And then, infused with the plant spirits as well, it creates a really interesting essence. So out of these 3 glasses, I've made 3 bottles of the mother essence. So that contains 50-50 of the plant spirit water and 50%. I've used whiskey in this case because that's what I happen to have in the house. So that's an 80% proof. So that's 40% volume, I think, which is the standard spirit strength that you can buy anyway. Most people use brandy, but I didn't have any brandy in the house, so I thought I'd use whiskey instead. And I do keep a bottle of whiskey for medicinal purposes. That in itself is a cure-all for winter cold, sore throats, toothache. I actually quite like the taste of whiskey, so I don't mind it. A lot of people don't like the taste, but it really is an antibacterial remedy in itself, and I use it a lot if I get a snuffly nose or a toothache. Don't often have toothache, but you know what I mean. It cleanses the mouth and it kills any bacterial stuff that's going on in your mouth and throat. And a good hot toddy, if you like, in milk before you go to bed, or just a shot of whiskey before you go to bed, cures all winter viral ailments, I find. Anyway, so I've used, cut a long story short, Sarah rambling again. I've used it 50-50 with my plant spirit essence water, moon water, and put it in this bottle. So this is the mother essence. So from this, I can make endless bottles really of stock bottles into the future. So what you do then is you take another bottle, you do a 50-50 water alcohol mix, and you put 2 drops of this into that bottle, and that will give you the same potency as this bottle. So it's all very clever. So I've made, the elderflower one, the wormwood, and the mugwort. So I got 3 bottles of that. And from each mixture that I made, not all of it would fit in the bottle. So I thought, oh, that's a bit of a waste pouring it down the sink. So what actually I did was to make a mix of the 3 of them. So that's got the wormwood, mugwort, and elderflower in this one bottle, which I'm going to use for the Medicine Doll Circle I'm going to be holding in July. So if you happen to be in Mid Wales, Llanidloes, do subscribe to me, and I'll let people know when it is I'm holding the circle, and it'd be great to see, do come along. So what are the properties of the plants? Well, they're all boundary plants. They're all plants that are associated with living on the edge. Mugwort and wormwood grow on the edge of fields, on the edge of pathways, on the edge of where a terrain changes, basically. So they actually live on these edges of fields and terrain, and that, in spiritual terms, denotes that they live on the edge of worlds. So they're between worlds, so that they can help us work through moving between worlds. So mugwort is a great dream plant, and it's always been associated with making dream bags to put under your pillows to help with astral travel. Wormwood is a much stronger energy, in so much as that it sets up boundaries to prevent things coming into you from psychic attack, for example, or it's also a very good parasite cleanse, although I wouldn't recommend using it without supervision from a herbalist, because it's a very potent plant and it can damage your kidneys if you're not careful. So if you want to use it as a parasite cleanse, please go and see your local herbalist. Or you can use the essence of it, which works on the spiritual side of cleansing parasitic invasion. So it's both, works on the physical and the spiritual. And the same with mugwort. Mugwort is a milder parasitic cleanse, but it's much more associated with helping us move through into another dimension, helping us move from this reality, if you like, into another one, whereas wormwood is protecting you in the reality that you're in, but is also a very psychic plant, in so much as it can help open your third eye. The tree elder is revered from ancient times. All three plants are very much associated with the old ways. They were very much used in country alchemy, if you like. And I don't want to call them witchy plants, because that kind of gives them the wrong impression, but they're very powerful spiritual plants anyway. So elder has been associated for a very long time, for thousands of years, with death, and the tree should be approached with reverence, like all plants, but particularly elder, because it has a nasty habit of making you remember it next time. So the old saying goes that you shouldn't bring elder into the house. You shouldn't tear a branch off without first asking permission. Again, that applies to all plants, but particularly elder, because it holds a bit of a grudge if you're not reverent. And even if you're just picking the flowers to make elderflower cordial, you should really, you should ask if it's okay that you take these flowers to make your cordial. You shouldn't really cut the wood of elder, and you should never burn it on the fire. So if you ever come across, a tree down, you think, oh, I'll take that back and put it on the wood burner, don't. Leave it where it is. The saying goes that if you burn elder, you burn somebody in the family, somebody will die, and you kind of don't want to test that out, really. So elder, again, is a boundary plant. It helps you set up boundaries, and it's very much associated with, it has boundaries. It doesn't want somebody just walking into its space. It's associated with ancestral wisdom. Again, it was a tree that would be used in spell making if, you know, people were looking for spells. And, you know, you can make not very nice spells associated with elder. You know, if you've got a grudge against somebody, you can go to a spell maker and ask for an elderwood spell. I wouldn't recommend it because, you know, when anybody ever works with negative energy, then it comes bouncing back. So that's not something I would suggest. I mean, it's very much a gatekeeper and demands humility, really. You know, you really have to respect elder as a plant. So don't muck around with it. It can also be used for dream work, and it strips away false beliefs. So it really takes people back to the truth. And if you're working with elder and you're not being terribly truthful, you kind of find out about it. But it also helps reveal truth to you. If you're finding that you can't see your way through something, then elder will help you with that. So that's what I've been doing this morning, is bottling everything up. But I've been left, after making my mother bottles, my mother essences, I've been left with, you know, half a glass of the water, the moon plant spirit water. So what I'm going to do with this is, because I don't want to make any more essences using alcohol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those separately in jars, put them in my fridge, and over the next week or so, I'll take a sip from them if I'm, you know, working with something. I don't want to waste it. It's, you know, moon water's great to have anyway, even if it's, you don't have any plant spirit essence in it. You know, moon water's super powerful, and I quite often put just a jar of spring water out on a full moon, and allow the energy of the full moon to go into the water, and then I'll just sip that jar of water throughout the week. Oh, you don't want to keep it for too long. I mean, it's probably fine in the fridge for a couple of weeks. And anyway, the energy will change after that. You know, 2 weeks later, you've got the new moon coming in, so you don't want to be drinking full moon water necessarily. And then the next full moon, you can make another batch. So that's what I'm going to do with what's left over, and I shall be sipping them throughout the week, and just working with that energy of the moon, about freedom and moving forward, and taking these plants help and wisdom about shifting through liminal spaces and through stepping into the next stage, if you like. So I hope that helps. If you're new here, thank you so much for staying till the end. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. It helps. So, you know, there's so many people out on YouTube at the moment that the algorithms tend to just pick up those channels that have a lot of followers and a lot of likes and comments, because the likes and comments actually push you further up in the algorithm. So please just give me a thumbs up and leave a comment, because, you know, that really helps. Okay, that's enough of the sales talk, but speak to you all soon.